6 months after the council meeting, strange things began happening in human space. Admiral Chris Rodriguez stood in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains and watched reports coming in from across the galaxy. "Sir, the aliens are starting to notice that something is different," reported Captain Nicole Roberts from the intelligence desk. "Their spy networks are sending confused messages about human activity." Chris looked at the wall screens showing data from a dozen different projects. Project Prometheus was ahead of schedule and under budget. For the first time since the council rejection, he felt good about humanity's future. "What exactly are they noticing?" he asked. "Well, sir, our cargo ships have stopped following the usual trade routes. Several human colonies have gone completely dark to outside communication, and apparently some alien merchants are wondering why Earth is buying so much raw metal and rare minerals." Dr. Amy Mitchell walked over from the science station. She was the lead researcher on the new drive technology, and she looked excited. "Admiral, we just finished the latest test run. The new engines are performing 40% better than our best estimates." Chris nodded. That was good news. The new drive systems would make human ships faster than anything the Council species used, but speed was only part of the plan. "How is the stealth project coming along?" he asked. Dr. Mitchell smiled. "Even better than the engines. We can now hide a ship the size of a battlecruiser from alien sensors at close range. They literally cannot see us coming until we want them to." The stealth technology had come from studying alien communication methods. Human scientists had figured out how to bend electromagnetic signals around their ships. It was like being invisible but for radio waves and sensor beams. Captain Steve Parker entered the command center carrying a data pad. He had been leading the reconnaissance missions into alien space, and he always brought back useful information. "Admiral, the mapping project is complete," he said. "We now have detailed charts of military installations for 7 major council species. Their defensive positions are exactly what we expected." Chris took the data pad and scrolled through the information. The aliens had been at peace for so long that their defenses were designed more for show than for actual fighting. Most of their weapons were old and their tactics had not changed in centuries. "They really do not expect anyone to challenge them," Chris said. "No, sir, they do not. Most of their military bases are built for comfort rather than security. They have big windows and fancy gardens instead of thick walls and hidden bunkers." Dr. Kevin Walsh came over from the weapons development area. His team had been working on new types of guns and missiles that would surprise the aliens. "Admiral, we have solved the final technical problem with the plasma cannons. They are ready for installation on the new ships." Chris was pleased. The plasma cannons used technology that the Council species had never seen before. Human weapons would be able to punch through alien shields and armor like they were made of paper. "What about the electromagnetic pulse devices?" Chris asked. "Those are ready too, sir. One properly aimed EMP burst can shut down an entire alien fleet. Their ships depend so much on computer systems that they become helpless when the electronics stop working." The most important part of the plan was happening on the surface. Every major industrial center on Earth had been converted to military production. Factories that used to make cars were now building spaceship engines. Companies that made computers were now making targeting systems for weapons. Lieutenant Diana Foster was in charge of coordinating the industrial effort. She reported to Chris every day about the progress. "Sir, we are producing new warships at a rate of 12 per week. The orbital shipyards are working around the clock." "Any problems with materials or workers?" Chris asked. "No, sir. When people found out what the aliens said about us at the council meeting, everyone wanted to help. We have more volunteers than we can use." The unity on Earth was something Chris had never seen before. Republicans and Democrats worked together. Rich and poor people volunteered for the same projects. Countries that had been enemies for decades were now sharing technology and resources. "The aliens gave us something we never had before," Dr. Mitchell said. "A common enemy that everyone can agree on." The secret projects were spread across human space to avoid detection. Weapons were being built in asteroid mines, where alien sensors could not reach. New ships were being assembled inside hollow moons where they could not be seen. Training facilities were hidden in the outer planets where no one ever went. Commander Maria Santos was working on the most important project of all. She had been studying captured alien technology for months and had made a discovery that would Change everything. Admiral, I need to show you something, she said as she connected her computer to the main display screen. This is a map of the alien communication network. The screen showed a complex web of signals connecting thousands of planets across the galaxy. Every alien species was connected to the network and depended on it for everything from military coordination to entertainment broadcasts. It looks very complicated, Chris said. It is complicated, sir, but it also has a fatal weakness. The entire network routes through 12 main hub stations. If those stations were to go offline, the aliens would lose the ability to talk to each other across long distances. Chris stared at the screen. Without communications, the alien species could not coordinate their defenses or call for help. Each planet would be on its own. Can we take out those hub stations? He asked. Yes, sir. I have designed a computer virus that will spread through their network and crash all the main computers at the same time. They will not even know what hit them until it is too late. The final piece of the plan was training. Human soldiers and pilots were learning to use the new technology and weapons, but they were also learning something else that the aliens had forgotten. Colonel Tyler Brooks was running the training program from a base on Mars. He was President Brooks's son, and he had volunteered for the most dangerous missions. Admiral, our people are ready. They know this is not just about fighting. This is about showing the galaxy that humans deserve respect. Chris looked around the command center at all the people working on different parts of the project. Scientists and soldiers and engineers and pilots all working together toward the same goal. In 6 months, they had built a military force that could challenge the entire Galactic Council. Any word from the diplomatic front? He asked. Captain, Roberts checked her reports. The aliens are still making jokes about us, sir. Last week, there was a comedy special on Saurian television about stupid things humans do. They have no idea what we are preparing. That was exactly what Chris wanted to hear. The longer the aliens thought humans were harmless, the more surprised they would be when the attack came. How much longer do we need? He asked Dr. Mitchell. All. The technology is ready, sir. We have enough ships and weapons to carry out the plan. We are just waiting for final approval from the president. Chris nodded. President Brooks had been very clear about her goals. This was not about conquest or revenge. This was about making sure the galaxy understood that humanity was not a joke. The plan was simple and devastating. Human forces would strike multiple targets across alien space at the same time. They would disable rather than destroy, showing that humans were strong enough to win, but wise enough to show mercy. Most importantly, they would prove that the primitive mammals could outsmart and outfight the most advanced species in the galaxy. Sir, we are receiving a priority message from Earth, reported the communications officer. Chris walked over to the secure terminal and read the message. It was from President Brooks and it contained only 3 words. You are go. He turned to face the room full of people who had worked so hard to make this moment possible. Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Prometheus is approved. Signal all units to begin final preparations. The command center erupted in quiet cheers and applause. Everyone knew this was the moment that would change human history forever. Chris looked at the star map showing the positions of alien fleets and bases. For months, those red dots had represented threats and obstacles. Now they looked like what they really were. Targets. The aliens had spent 6 months laughing at humanity and treating them like entertainment. They were about to discover that the joke was on them. Remember, everyone, Chris announced to the room. We are not doing this for revenge. We are doing this to earn respect, show them what humans can do, but also show them who humans really are. The sleeping giant was about to wake up, and the galaxy would never be the same. The attack began at exactly noon Galactic Standard Time on a Tuesday. Admiral Chris Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance and watched as human ships appeared out of nowhere across 17 different star systems. All units report ready, sir, said Commander Lisa Wang from the communications station. Operation Prometheus is live. Chris looked at the tactical display showing the positions of human forces throughout alien space. 6 months of planning and preparation had led to this moment. The aliens were about to learn what happened when you underestimated humanity. Signal all ships, Chris ordered. Remember, we are here to disable, not destroy. We want prisoners, not corpses. Show them our strength, but also show them our mercy. The first target was the Saurian military headquarters at Kepler Station. Captain Nicole Roberts commanded the strike team assigned to take the heavily defended base. Her ship Retribution dropped, out of stealth mode directly above the station's main command tower. "This is Captain Roberts to Saurian Command," she broadcast on all frequencies. "You are surrounded by human forces. Surrender now, and no one will be hurt." The response came from General Vexstar himself. His hissing voice sounded confused and angry. "Impossible. Human ships cannot penetrate our defenses. This must be some kind of trick." Nicole smiled as she watched her tactical screen. 12 Saurian warships were trying to lock weapons on her fleet, but their targeting systems could not get a clear reading. The human stealth technology was still partially active, making it hard for alien sensors to track them accurately. "No, trick, General," Nicole replied. "Just human engineering. Last chance to surrender before we demonstrate our new weapons." "Primitive mammals do not give orders to the Saurian Empire," Vexstar snarled. "All ships attack the human vessels." Nicole sighed. The aliens were too proud to surrender without a fight. That was what Chris had expected. "All ships, you are authorized to return fire. Disable their weapons and engines, but avoid hitting life support systems." The battle was over in 3 minutes. Human plasma cannons tore through Saurian shields, like they were made of tissue paper. Electromagnetic pulse weapons shut down alien computer systems and left their ships drifting helplessly in space. Not a single human ship was even scratched. "Saurian Command, this is Captain Roberts. Your fleet is disabled and your station is surrounded. Do you surrender now?" There was a long pause before Vexstar responded. "How is this possible? Your weapons should not be able to penetrate our defenses. Apparently you do not know as much about human technology as you thought, General. Are you ready to discuss terms?" Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. At the Luminar energy fields, Captain Danny Roberts led an assault on their main power generation facility. The Luminar beings tried to use their energy manipulation abilities against the human ships, but the new plasma shields deflected their attacks harmlessly. "Your energy weapons are impressive," Danny broadcast to the Luminar commanders. "But we designed our defenses specifically to counter them. Please surrender before someone gets hurt." The floating energy beings had never been defeated in combat before. Their weapons could destroy entire planets, but they were useless against human technology that had been built to fight them. On Nexus Prime, the most important battle was taking place. Commander Tyler Brooks led a team of human soldiers into the council chambers where they had been humiliated 6 months earlier. This time the aliens were not laughing. Council Speaker Zethkari clicked his mandibles nervously as human troops surrounded the platform where he stood. "This is an act of war against the Galactic Council. You will face the combined might of 47 species." Tyler removed his helmet and looked up at the insect-like alien. "Actually, Speaker Zethkari, we are facing the combined might of 47 species right now, and we are winning." The council chamber's main screen lit up with reports from across the galaxy. Every major alien military installation was under attack by human forces. Every single engagement was going in humanity's favor. "You cannot have this level of technology," Zethkari insisted. "Your species is too primitive to build such advanced weapons." "That is what you told us 6 months ago," Tyler replied. "You said we were barbaric mammals who were not ready to join your council. Maybe you should have paid more attention to what those barbaric mammals were capable of." Dr. Caroline Lee was monitoring the operation from Earth's command center. Her job was to make sure everything went according to plan, and that human casualties stayed as low as possible. "All strike teams report objectives secured," she announced to President Brooks, who was watching from the Situation Room. "Total human casualties so far are 15 wounded and 0 killed. Alien casualties are minimal as ordered." President Brooks nodded. This was exactly what she had hoped for. A demonstration of human power that would get the galaxy's attention without causing unnecessary death and suffering. The most devastating blow came when Commander Maria Santos activated her computer virus. The alien communication network had been designed over thousands of years and no one had ever found a way to attack it. But Maria had discovered that its complexity was also its weakness. Virus is deployed and spreading through their network, she reported from her station on Luna Base. Estimated time to complete system failure is 18 minutes. Across the galaxy, alien commanders found themselves unable to contact their superiors or coordinate with other units. Planets that had been connected for millennia were suddenly isolated and alone. Council Speaker Zethkari's own communication device went dead as he tried to call for reinforcements. "What have you done to our network?" "We shut it down," Tyler said simply. "All of it. Every alien species in the galaxy just lost the ability to talk to each other across interstellar distances. You are all on your own now." The full scale of the human attack became clear as more reports came in. The Thrank's underwater cities found their defenses useless against human weapons that could operate in any environment. The crystalline creatures of Vega discovered that their diamond-hard shells could not stop plasma cannons. Even the ancient machine intelligences were helpless when electromagnetic pulses fried their central processors. Admiral Martinez was coordinating the overall operation. From his flagship Determination, he watched the tactical displays with satisfaction as human forces completed their objectives across the galaxy. "Sir, we have achieved all primary and secondary objectives," reported his tactical officer. "All major alien military installations are under our control. Their communication network is completely down. Estimated time for them to restore any significant defensive capability is 6 to 8 weeks. Martinez nodded. That was more than enough time to make humanity's point. "Signal all units to begin Phase 2 of the operation. Time to send our message to the galaxy." President Brooks appeared on every functioning screen in alien space. Her image was being broadcast from human ships and installations that now controlled key points throughout the galaxy. When she spoke, her voice was calm and confident. "People of the Galactic Council, 6 months ago you rejected humanity's application for membership. You said we were too primitive and barbaric to join your organization. You treated us like a joke to be laughed at and shared for entertainment." The president paused and looked directly into the camera. "Today we have demonstrated that your assessment was incorrect. Human forces have simultaneously disabled the military capabilities of every major council species. We have done this without significant loss of life on either side, because unlike you, we do not see other species as inferior beings to be dominated." She gestured to something off camera, and the image changed to show the tactical situation across the galaxy. Red dots showed disabled alien fleets. Blue dots showed human forces in control of strategic positions. Your weapons could not penetrate our defenses. Your sensors could not detect our ships. Your communication networks could not resist our computer attacks. The primitive mammals have just outsmarted and outfought the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. The image returned to President Brooks. "However, we are not here to conquer or destroy. We are here to prove a point. You said humanity was not ready to join the Galactic Council. Perhaps you were right. Perhaps we are destined for something greater than membership in an organization that judges species by their age rather than their potential." Tyler Brooks looked around the council chamber at the alien representatives who had laughed at humanity 6 months earlier. Now they sat in stunned silence as human soldiers maintained control of their most important meeting place. "The galaxy belongs to all species, not just the ones who happen to develop space travel first," President Brooks continued. "We offer you the chance to join us in building something better than the Galactic Council. An organization based on cooperation rather than domination, respect rather than ridicule." The broadcast ended and silence filled the alien installations across the galaxy. For the first time in recorded history, the Galactic Council had been completely defeated by a single species that they had dismissed as primitive. Commander Roberts received a message from one of the disabled Saurian ships. General Vextar's voice sounded very different than it had during the council meeting. "Human Commander, we wish to discuss terms of surrender." "No surrender necessary, General," Nicole replied. The news reached Earth 3 days later. President Helen Brooks sat in the White House Situation Room watching the video message that Jake Morrison had sent from his ship. Her face grew darker with each word. "They laughed at us, Helen," Jake said, on the screen. His voice sounded tired and angry. "Not just rejected us, but actually laughed like we were some kind of joke. They called us barbaric mammals and suggested we might make good pets." Helen turned off the video and looked around the Table at her advisors. General Susan Carter was gripping her coffee cup so hard her knuckles were white. Admiral Paul Martinez stared at the wall with a blank expression. Secretary of Defense Kevin Walsh was writing notes on a paper pad. "How bad is this going to get?" Helen asked. Admiral Martinez spoke first. "The alien news networks are already broadcasting the footage. Apparently the council chamber has cameras that record everything. They are showing it as entertainment." Helen felt sick to her stomach. "Entertainment?" "Yes, ma'am. The video shows Jake asking to join the council and then shows all the aliens laughing at him. They have added funny music and sound effects. It is being shared across dozens of different alien planets." General Carter slammed her cup down on the table. "This is worse than just being rejected. They have made us look like fools in front of the entire galaxy." Dr. Eric Thompson from the Science Division spoke up. "The trade delegations that were supposed to visit Earth next month have all canceled. The Centauri Mining Company has ended our contract. 3 different species have stopped answering our communication signals." Helen rubbed her forehead. The headache was getting worse. "What about our expansion plans?" "That is the worst part," Thompson continued. "The 3 colony worlds we identified for settlement have all been claimed by council species in the last 48 hours. Worlds they showed no interest in before are suddenly very important to them." Kevin Walsh looked up from his notes. "They are sending us a message. Stay in your little corner of space and do not try to grow bigger." The door opened and Colonel Rachel Bennett walked in. She was the head of the Deep Space Monitoring Station and she looked worried. "Madam President, we have a problem. Our long-range sensors are picking up increased military activity near our borders. At least 6 different alien fleets have moved closer to human space in the last 2 days." Helen felt the room getting smaller. "Are they planning to attack us?" "We do not think so, ma'am. But they are definitely positioning themselves to watch us closely, like they want to make sure we stay where we belong." Admiral Martinez pulled up a star map on the wall screen. Red dots showed the positions of alien military ships. They formed a rough circle around the 12 star systems that humans controlled. "It looks like they are putting us in a cage," Martinez said. "Not attacking, but making sure we cannot expand or grow stronger." The worst news came from Dr. Sarah Kim, who ran the cultural exchange program. "The alien students who were studying on Earth have all been recalled by their governments. The vegans who were helping us with agriculture have gone home. Even the traders who used to stop at our space stations have disappeared." Helen looked around the table at her advisors. These were smart people who had helped her deal with many crises, but none of them seemed to know what to do about this. "The aliens do not just see us as weak," General Carter said. "They see us as a joke. Something to laugh about when they want entertainment." The situation got worse over the next few weeks. Videos of the council meeting were being remixed and shared across alien social networks. Some showed Jake Morrison asking to join the council with circus music playing in the background. Others had added cartoon sound effects to make the humans look even more foolish. Commander Steve Parker was in charge of human intelligence gathering. He brought reports that made everyone feel worse. The Saurian Empire is selling t-shirts with pictures of humans on them. The text translates to something like "cute but dumb pets from the edge of space." T-shirts? Helen could not believe what she was hearing. "Yes, ma'am. And that is not the worst part. There are alien comedy shows that have regular segments making fun of human culture. They show videos of human wars and disasters, and the audience laughs like it is the funniest thing they have ever seen." Dr. Kim added more bad news. "The Luminar energy beings have created a children's educational program about different species in the galaxy. Humans are listed in the same category as pets and decorative plants." Helen stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the Washington Monument and the Capitol building. For 300 years, America had been a symbol of hope and strength. Now they were part of a species that the rest of the galaxy saw as entertainment. "What are our options?" she asked without turning around. Kevin Walsh cleared his throat. "We could try to build better technology and apply to the council again in a few years. And give them more material to laugh about." General Carter shook her head. "They made it clear that they think we are too primitive to ever be equals." Admiral Martinez looked at his papers. "We could focus on developing our own region of space, build up our defenses and try to become strong enough that they have to respect us. With what? Dr. Thompson asked. They control the trade routes and the advanced technology. We are completely cut off from everything we need to grow. Helen turned back to face the room. There has to be something we can do. I refuse to accept that humanity is destined to be the galaxy's laughingstock. Colonel Bennett spoke up quietly. There might be one option, ma'am, but it would be very risky. Everyone looked at her. Helen nodded for her to continue. The aliens think we are primitive and harmless. They are not watching us very carefully because they do not see us as a threat. That could be an advantage. What kind of advantage? Helen asked. Well, ma'am, what if we let them keep thinking we are harmless? While we work on becoming actually dangerous, they would never see it coming. The room was quiet for a long moment. Helen could hear the air conditioning humming and the distant sound of traffic outside. Are you suggesting we prepare for war? She asked. Not war exactly, Bennett replied. More like making sure we have the ability to defend ourselves if things get worse. And maybe the ability to show the aliens that they made a mistake in underestimating us. General Carter leaned forward. The military has been working on some projects that could be very useful. We just never had the political support to fully develop them. Helen sat back down. What kind of projects? Stealth technology that could hide our ships from alien sensors. New weapons that work differently than anything they have seen before. Drive systems that could make our ships much faster than they expect. Admiral Martinez nodded. We have been studying alien technology for years. We know their weaknesses even if they do not know ours. Helen looked around the table again. Her advisors were starting to look more hopeful than they had since the news from the council arrived. How long would something like this take? She asked. If we had full government support and unlimited resources, maybe 2 years. General Carter replied. The technology already exists in prototype form. We just need to build it on a large scale. Dr. Thompson was nodding. The industrial capacity is there. If we converted some civilian manufacturing to military production, we could build a lot of equipment very quickly. Helen thought about it. The aliens saw humans as harmless pets who could never threaten anyone. That assumption might be the biggest mistake they ever made. Do it, she said finally. Full government support, unlimited resources, but everything stays completely secret. As far as the galaxy knows, we are still the same primitive humans they laughed at. General Carter smiled for the first time since the meeting started. Yes, ma'am. I think the aliens are going to be very surprised. Helen stood up again. They wanted to treat us like a joke. Let them. But when we are ready to show them what humans can really do, they will not be laughing anymore. The meeting ended and everyone filed out of the room. Helen stayed behind looking at the star map on the wall. The red dots showing alien military positions looked less threatening now. They looked like targets. The galaxy had made a mistake in humiliating humanity. They had assumed that a young species would just accept being treated as inferior. But they did not understand humans very well. Humans did not like being laughed at, and they had a long history of proving their doubters wrong in very unpleasant ways. The aliens were about to learn that some jokes have very serious punchlines. Jake Morrison walked through the huge crystal doors of the Galactic Council building. His black suit felt tight around his shoulders as he looked up at the massive ceiling that seemed to go on forever. The walls were made of some kind of blue crystal that glowed with soft light. He had never seen anything like it on Earth. Behind him walked his team of 3 people. Lisa Wang carried a silver case with all their important papers. Kate Phillips had her computer tablet ready to take notes. Danny Roberts looked around with wide eyes at all the strange alien creatures walking past them. The main hall was bigger than any building Jake had ever seen. Hundreds of different alien beings moved around the space. Some looked like giant bugs with too many arms. Others were tall and thin like walking trees. A few floated in the air without touching the ground. Jake tried not to stare, but it was hard not to look. A small robot rolled up to them and spoke in perfect English. Human delegation, please follow me to Council Chamber 7. The robot turned and started moving toward a wide hallway. Jake and his team followed behind it. They walked for 10 minutes through halls filled with more aliens than Jake could count. Some stopped to look at the humans with curious eyes. Others just ignored them completely. Jake heard weird clicking and buzzing sounds that he guessed were alien languages. Finally, they reached a huge round room with seats going up in circles like a sports stadium. In the center was a small platform with 4 chairs. The robot pointed to the chairs. "Please, sit and wait for the council speaker." Jake sat down and looked around the room. There were hundreds of alien beings in the seats above them. Most were talking to each other in their strange languages. Some were pointing at the humans and making sounds that might have been laughing. A loud horn sound filled the room and everyone became quiet. A huge bug-like creature with 4 arms walked to a tall platform at the front of the room. It had big eyes like a fly, and its mouth moved in a weird way when it talked. "I am Council Speaker Zethkari," the creature said. Its voice was deep and sounded like it was talking through water. "Today we hear from the species called humans who wish to join our council." Jake stood up and walked to a small microphone in front of his chair. "Thank you, Council Speaker. I am Ambassador Jake Morrison from planet Earth. We come here hoping to join the galactic community as equal partners." A sound like laughing came from many seats around the room. Zethkari moved its 4 arms in what might have been a shrug. "Equal partners? How interesting. Tell us, human, what makes your species think it belongs here with us?" Jake had practiced this speech many times. Humanity has developed space travel and visited other star systems. We have built cities and learned to live together in peace. We believe we can add something valuable to the council. More laughing sounds came from the audience. A huge lizard-like creature in green scales stood up from its seat. "I am General Vexstar of the Saurian Empire. Human, do you know how long my species has traveled between stars?" Jake shook his head. "No, General, I do not." 50,000 of your Earth years, Vexstar said with a hissing sound. "We were building starships when your species was still living in caves. What could you possibly teach us?" Kate Phillips stood up next to Jake. "We have developed new types of engines and weapons that might interest the Council. Our scientists have made discoveries about space and time that could help everyone." A creature that looked like it was made of pure light floated down from the high seats. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music. "I am Luminar of the Energy Beings. Show us these wonderful discoveries, little mammals." Kate opened her tablet and showed holographic pictures of human technology. There were spaceships and weapons and computer systems. The aliens looked at the pictures with what seemed like boredom. Zethkari waved one of its 4 arms. "These are toys compared to what we have. Your spaceships move slower than our cargo vessels. Your weapons could not scratch our warships. Your computers are less smart than what our children play with." Danny Roberts stepped forward. "Maybe our technology is not as advanced, but we learn fast. Give us a chance to prove what humans can do." A fat creature with tentacles instead of arms made a wet laughing sound. "Prove what you can do? Little human, your entire species has been in space for less than 100 years. Some of us have lived longer than that." The tentacle creature stood up from its seat. "I am Counselor Thranks. My people have been watching your planet for a very long time. We have seen your wars and your violence. You still fight with each other over stupid things like land and resources." Jake felt his face getting red, but he kept his voice calm. "Every species has problems to work through. Humans are learning to be better." "Learning?" Vexstar hissed. "You still use projectile weapons and explosive devices. My people stopped using such primitive tools before your son was born." Zethkari looked down at the humans with its big fly eyes. "Perhaps the little mammals do not understand what the Galactic Council really is. We are the most advanced species in the galaxy. We have moved beyond the simple needs that still control your kind." Lisa Wang opened her silver case and pulled out some papers. "We have trade agreements ready to sign. Earth has resources that might be valuable to Council species." "Resources?" Luminar's musical voice sounded amused. "What resources could a single primitive planet offer to an empire that controls thousands of star systems?" The whole room filled with alien laughing sounds. Jake felt like a small child trying to talk to adults who thought everything he said was silly. Thranks waved. "Its tentacles. I have a better idea for these humans. Perhaps they could serve as pets for the Saurian Empire. I am sure Vextar's people would enjoy having some cute mammals to take care of. The laughing got louder. Even Zethkari seemed to be making the clicking sound that meant it was amused. Jake stood as tall as he could. The human race deserves respect. We may be younger than other species, but we have accomplished much in a short time. Accomplished much? Zethkari clicked its mouthparts. You have barely left your home planet. Most of your people still live and die on the world where they were born. You call this an accomplishment? The council speaker looked around the room at all the other aliens. What does the council think? Should we allow these primitive mammals to join our organization? Voices in dozens of different alien languages filled the room. Jake could not understand the words, but the tone was clear. They were all saying no. Zethkari turned back to the humans. The Galactic Council has made its decision. Humanity is not ready to join us. Perhaps in a few thousand years, when you have evolved beyond your current barbaric state, we might consider your request again. Jake felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. All their preparation and hope had been for nothing. Zethkari continued. Until then, I suggest your species focus on growing up. Learn to live in peace with each other before you try to live in peace with us. The aliens in the seats started to leave. Many of them pointed at the humans and made more laughing sounds. As they walked away, Jake and his team stood alone on the platform in the huge empty room. Lisa Wang closed her silver case with shaking hands. Kate Phillips put away her tablet without looking up. Danny Roberts stared at the floor. They had traveled across the galaxy to be treated like children asking to sit at the adult table. The council had not just said no. They had made it clear that humans were nothing more than amusing animals to them. As they walked back through the crystal halls, Jake wondered what would happen next. Earth had put all its hope in joining the Galactic Council. Now they would have to go home and tell everyone that the rest of the galaxy thought humans were too stupid and primitive to be taken seriously. The small robot that had brought them to the chamber was waiting by the exit. Transport to your ship is ready, it said in its mechanical voice. Jake nodded and followed the robot toward the door. Behind him, he could still hear the sound of alien laughter echoing through the crystal halls. 3 weeks after Operation Prometheus, the galaxy looked very different. Ambassador Jake Morrison walked through the same crystal halls where he had been humiliated 6 months earlier. But this time, alien beings stepped aside respectfully as he passed. The council chamber had been rebuilt with a new seating arrangement. Instead of the old design where some species sat higher than others, the new layout put everyone on the same level. Jake took his place at the central podium and looked around at representatives from 47 different species. Council speaker Zethkari approached the podium with movements that seemed much less confident than before. His forearms trembled slightly as he spoke. Ambassador Morrison, the Galactic Council has reconsidered humanity's application for membership. We would be honored to offer your species full voting rights and territorial recognition. Jake consulted his notes with deliberate slowness. He wanted the aliens to understand that the situation had changed completely. That is a generous offer, Speaker Zethkari, but I am afraid humanity is no longer interested in joining the Galactic Council. A murmur of concern passed through the assembled delegates. The Luminar representative's glow dimmed noticeably as it spoke. What exactly does humanity want from us? Dr. Kate Phillips stepped forward wearing the insignia of Earth's new Department of Galactic Affairs. Humanity proposes the dissolution of the Galactic Council and the formation of a new organization. We call it the Galactic Alliance. She activated a holographic display that showed the proposed structure of the new organization. Instead of the Council's hierarchy based on age and technological advancement, the Alliance would operate on principles of equality and cooperation. Every species gets an equal vote regardless of how long they have been traveling in space, Kate explained. Decisions are made by majority agreement, not by the whims of the oldest civilizations. New members are welcomed and encouraged rather than mocked and rejected. General Vextar raised one of his clawed hands. The Saurian leader looked much smaller than he had during the original council meeting. What guarantees do we have that humanity will not use its superior military power to dominate this new alliance? Jake smiled. That was exactly the question he had been hoping for. The same guarantee you gave us when you controlled the Galaxy General. None at all. The difference is that we have already demonstrated our restraint. We could have destroyed your fleets, but we chose to disable them. We could have conquered your worlds, but we chose to withdraw. President Brooks appeared via holographic projection from Earth. Her presence filled the chamber with an authority that the alien leaders could not ignore. The alliance will be governed by principles rather than power. Every species contributes what they do best instead of competing. To prove who is strongest, she gestured and the display changed to show a map of the galaxy, with many previously unknown species marked in different colors. Our deep space surveys have identified 43 species that were rejected by the Galactic Council over the past 1,000 years. Several have developed remarkable technologies while remaining hidden from your notice. The revelation stunned the Council delegates. They had assumed they knew about every intelligent species in the galaxy. The idea that dozens of civilizations had been developing in secret was almost impossible to believe. Admiral Chris Rodriguez appeared on screen from his flagship. The Council controlled less than 30% of galactic space. The rest was inhabited by species you either rejected or never bothered to contact. Many of them have been watching you for centuries, waiting for the chance to join a more inclusive organization. Over the following days, more shocking discoveries were revealed. The Solari had mastered the ability to manipulate stellar energy and could move entire stars to new locations. The Voidwalkers existed partially outside normal space and could travel instantly between any 2 points in the galaxy. The Builders created living machines that could construct entire civilizations in a matter of weeks. Commander Rachel Bennett presented the most comprehensive survey of galactic species ever compiled. We have confirmed contact with 86 different intelligent civilizations. 47 were council members. 39 were previously unknown or rejected species. All of them have expressed interest in joining the alliance. The old council faced a simple choice. They could try to maintain their failing system of hierarchy and exclusion, or they could join humanity's new organization based on cooperation and inclusion. One by one, the council species began requesting alliance membership. The Luminar beings were among the first to formally apply. Their representative floated down to the podium with a much brighter glow than before. The energy beings request admission to the Galactic Alliance. We offer our mastery of stellar physics and energy manipulation to the common good. Jake reviewed their application with the same careful consideration that the Council had never given to humanity. Application approved. Welcome to the Alliance. The Saurian Empire took longer to decide. General Vextar spent hours debating with his government before finally approaching Jake. The Saurian Empire requests alliance membership. We offer our military expertise and strategic planning capabilities. What about your attitude toward younger species? Jake asked. The alliance requires all members to treat each other with respect regardless of technological level or evolutionary age. Vextar lowered his head in what might have been shame. We have learned that age does not always equal wisdom. The Saurian Empire is prepared to learn from species we previously considered inferior. Application approved. Welcome to the Alliance General. The transformation continued for months. Species that had hidden from the Council for centuries emerged to join the new organization. Technologies that had been kept secret were shared freely among Alliance members. Scientific advances that would have taken millennia under the old system happened in a matter of weeks. Dr. Amy Mitchell found herself coordinating research projects between dozens of different species. The quantum engineers from Proxima Centauri are working with the Voidwalkers to develop instantaneous communication across galactic distances. The Builders are teaching us how to create self-repairing space stations. The progress is incredible. Captain Steve Parker led Alliance exploration teams to regions of space that had been unexplored for thousands of years. We are finding new species almost every week. Most of them have been avoiding contact with the galaxy because they heard about how the Council treated newcomers. But the most important change was cultural. Instead of older species looking down on younger ones, the alliance encouraged mentorship and cooperation. Instead of technological competition, there was scientific collaboration. Instead of territorial disputes, there was coordinated expansion. Jake stood once again in what had been the council chamber, but was now Alliance headquarters. The room was filled with representatives from 86 different species working together on projects that would benefit everyone. 6 months ago, I stood here asking for humanity to be accepted into your organization, he said to the assembled delegates. You rejected us because you thought we had nothing to offer. Today we have something much better than membership in your old council. We have partnership in building the future. The Thranks delegate raised several tentacles. Ambassador Morrison, what would have happened if the council had accepted humanity's original application? Jake thought about that question for a moment. Honestly, Councillor Thranks, I think we would have spent decades trying to prove ourselves worthy of your approval. We would have accepted a junior position and worked our way up slowly through your hierarchy. The galaxy would have continued to stagnate under the same old system. He gestured around the chamber at all the different species working together. Instead, you forced us to find our own path. You made us strong enough to challenge the entire galactic order. In a way, your rejection was the best thing that could have happened. President Brooks appeared on screen for the final announcement. Today marks exactly 1 year since humanity was rejected by the Galactic Council. In that time, we have gone from being the galaxy's laughingstock to leading an alliance of 86 species working together for mutual benefit. She paused to let that sink in. The Council mocked humanity because we were different. Because we thought differently and acted differently than species who had been in space for thousands of years. But our differences were not weaknesses. They were our greatest strength. The holographic display showed the current state of the galaxy. The Alliance controlled 70% of known space and was growing larger every day. New species were joining regularly and new technologies were being developed at an unprecedented rate. When the Council mocked humanity, they made a critical error. President Brooks continued. They assumed that following their path was the only way to advance. But true advancement means finding your own path and helping others find theirs. Jake looked around the chamber at aliens who had once laughed at him and now worked beside him as equals. The transformation was almost impossible to believe. The Council paid the price for underestimating humanity, he said. But the real price was paid by all the species they rejected over the centuries. All the technologies that were never developed because different ideas were not welcome.